Welcome to another episode of KNN with Denoctum and Chaos, and we are here today talking about the new releases, and going to kind of shift, I think, into a new modality of product review and those kind of things, and we'll get a little more into that, and then go into that heavy next week as well as we kind of shift, I think, maybe the foundation of the show. As we talk about kind of what we're going to do and do those kind of things. So, but first up, we have the announcements for the week of what's coming and what's coming from Games Workshop.
So a big, and I mean this like literally a big release this week, which is the new Chaos Knights are coming. And they are long anticipated, I'd say. They got hinted at a couple years ago now with the Renegades box set when it first came out, which included 2 Imperial Knights in it, but they just drew Chaos symbols all over one and called it a day, you know. And now we're actually getting a kit that has, you know, the sculpted, molded pieces in the kit with the Chaos Knights. So we got the new codex for that. There's, you know, like data cards, so all the normal run that comes with the Games Workshop product.
Dice?
I
didn't see dice.
I don't think they got dice. I don't think they got dice. And but anyway, if you've seen the new, you know, Knights, there's 2 new builds that are coming. They're exclusive to their box set, and
which is on the screen.
Yeah. Okay. And I don't think they're going to be just a carbon copy of the normal. Of the normal Imperial Knights. I think we're going to see new rules. They've already leaked a bunch of stuff on the community page showing some of the stratagems, showing some of the warlord traits, relics, things like that. And so we'll see a little bit different style out of them. It'll be, personally, I'm one of those people that always believe that Knights are an addition to an army rather than an army unto themselves. You know, until you start to get like big multiplayer games or Apocalypse. But I always like the idea of like having a knight or 2 added to a big enough game. I've never been a big fan of my army is just all knights.
But it's popular now, especially on the tournament scene.
It is very popular in the tournament scene. So, but I mean, we also saw the chapter approved drop where they raised the point cost of one of the knights pretty significantly too because of how popular they were in that scene. Usually, if they're popular in the tournament scene, it's because something's undercosted for what it does. But that's this week. That's Games Workshop's big release, and there's also some Blackstone Fortress supplements coming out this week.
Yeah, which is pretty exciting. I think
Chaos Command
we
models.
still have to finish our Blackstone Fortress game.
I know.
We should do that.
We need to paint it all up so we can stream it.
Yeah, because it's not painted, and we can't put it on the camera if it's not painted.
We're such sticklers about that.
I heard that was a thing.
But then we got next week's releases were announced too.
So you can pre-order starting on Saturday. Sylvaneth. I don't know what happened to that book. I'm assuming it was supposed to come out with the Loon Curse box, but it is coming. It is going to be for pre-order coming this Saturday. Exciting! They're getting the whole barrage of stuff: the dice, the book, the data cards,
endless spells.
Endless spells. I haven't even seen pictures of those yet.
Oh, so. Yeah, there's like a big centipede-looking thing or worm creature.
Those.
Yeah, there's.
Okay.
And then in Awakened Woods too. There's like a new scenery piece for them as well. It's gonna be different than the normal Wildwood. They got a host of new abilities too. They actually have 7 mini factions inside their book now that they're gonna have all special rules.
And it's easier for them to travel between Wildwoods now. It's not just a dice roll. You can actually. If you choose to do it, you can do it.
So or if you have the pipes in with your tree revenants,
you just move.
They just move.
Yeah,
it's not even reliant.
Yep.
They just read deep strike around the table. So
and was that for Dryads and Tree Revenants and Spite Revenants? I think those 3 units can do that.
So we both play Sylvaneth, so I know we're both looking forward to.
That should be exciting. I'm excited about that. Actually.
And it got leaked a while back, and there was some delays. I mean, Games Workshop even made some jokes about it. Had a little gardening commercial they put out there about it and everything.
It was pretty funny. Still don't know why it was not done, but it was really good. And I'm using the contrast paints on those guys a lot because I think it looks really good.
Yep.
The Wildwood color. So we'll probably see some games with Sylvaneth against somebody else. Did they do a Goblin battle tome?
Yeah.
Gloom
Spike kits. Yeah.
New one. See, something must have happened because I'm assuming. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still curious of what happened.
Could have been an error at the printer. Who knows?
Yeah. Anyway. Okay. Sorry. We won't ramp on about that.
To kind of go in theme with that,
more stuff coming.
We have Blood Bowl. We have the Wood Elf team coming, which
Yes.
are very akin to Sylvaneth. And so there's a Wood Elf team coming out in plastic for Blood Bowl finally, which is great. I love seeing it. I kind of feel like they stretched up the Blood Bowl releases a little too far. Like I wish they just like dropped the game and then maybe like a team a month until
Well,
we had
it's
a
more
full.
of, and this is just me coming from Games Workshop perspective. Maybe it's literally just a side game that just sits
Right.
in the background all the time. So I don't even think that it's like they'll support it, but they're not. It's not like a main concern.
But
That's why I
there's
think
like
you
a
see it
cult
like that.
following of Blood Bowl.
There is a cult following.
Same
but
with
that's the problem.
Necromunda.
Same with Necromunda, and
yeah.
the releases are the same. So,
And then we got also for 40K next week. Then we have 3 new releases for 40K.
Yep.
2 of them are new start collecting boxes. One for Thousand Suns.
Yep.
Which is really odd because I think it has Ahriman in it.
Does it really?
And if that's the case, this is what was said to me today. So if I'm incorrect, internet will let me know. But that's really weird that you'd have a named character in a start collecting box, in my opinion.
Huh.
But I don't think there's really another character option that's really good, because the Exalted Sorcerers come 3 to a pack. What are you going to put in as a character choice?
Magnus?
Anyway, so yeah, it's,
maybe Magnus, maybe.
Yeah, Magnus the Red. Yeah, that'd be fan. I'd buy that box. And then Space Wolves are getting a Primaris start collecting box.
Yes.
And then
Are they getting plastics for Astra Militarium, or
what do you mean?
Like there's a bunch on the release sheet, a bunch of.
There might be some reboxes going on.
Reboxing, yeah.
And then the Spirit Seer. The Spirit Seer is coming in a single blister.
Yep.
Which was out of the Wake the Dead box originally, and then recently re-released in the Apocalypse Eldar detachment that you could purchase as well. Yep. And that's it for new releases, I think.
For Games Workshop, yeah. Nothing else. M20 releases this week.
Yep.
Officially, we had the pre-release last weekend. 4th of July, Wizards, just so you take a note, not a good weekend to do a pre-release. I don't know. I actually don't.
Lowest numbers we've ever had on a summer release.
Yeah, it's and I'm hearing that across the board. I don't think it was just at our store. I heard it from a lot of our distributors. Wizards kind of wake up and smell the coffee. You can't do a pre-release on 4th of July
on a holiday weekend. Yeah,
it was the dumbest thing that they've probably done.
At least in our area, everyone's out camping, enjoying the nice weather. Yeah,
but I just think it's a global issue. It's not just I don't know. Maybe they think their product is so
it would be
international.
global for us. It's kind of a U.S. holiday, but
no, but that's what I'm saying. They turned it to this global issue that hey, the rest of the world doesn't really care because it's 4th of July. But
fair enough.
It's like I don't know. I have a hard time when companies make really stupid thoughts and decisions. I don't know who comes up with that kind of stuff because it hurts business all around here. But anyway, and distributors were complaining about it. It wasn't just us. It was they were having a hard time with it just because a lot of people weren't buying as much stuff. So it is what it is. But anyway, I thought it did go well. People are liking the set. They like the cards. We did sell a few boxes during the pre-release weekend, so that's really good. And it should be a good set and kind of set the foundation for standard going forward come October, as it will become the core foundation set. So.
And then in the role-playing world, we have a countdown clock going for 2 major releases at least coming up here, which one is Catalyst Games Shadowrun 6th Edition.
That hits this week, doesn't it?
The starter set. Set comes out, and then the main book will be released at Gen Con.
Okay.
And they've been, if you follow Catalyst online, they've been posting information on what the new edition looks like. They talk about how magic is very different. They're doing a different system where it sounds like mages have more control over their spells and kind of design spells on the fly a little bit more, which other game systems have done as well. And I think it's cool seeing Catalyst take a page from that, but it's like if you're going to cast a fireball, then it has this quality, this quality, this quality, this quality, which helps determine like the drain and what it's going to go at. And they're trying to bring magic more in line, more in balance, which is I always like to see companies try to improve their games. So, and we're both huge Shadowrun fans.
Are they going to simplove the rules enough for you to use it, or are you going to stick with?
No, I'm sticking with Genesis.
With Genesis, okay.
I still read all the Shadowrun stuff. I still collect the books. I love talking to the design crew and everything too when I get a chance to do that. So I'm really excited to go to Gen Con this year.
3 weeks.
Yep, and see all the guys there. I love talking to Jason Hardy. He's a super nice guy and just really personable. And Bull and the rest of the crew there too. They're a really good group of people. So if you're gonna be at Gen Con, make sure you stop at Catalyst and say hi to the Shadowrun guys. they put out a good game. But yeah, it looks like they're doing a lot with the world, and the artwork is always just fantastic.
Yeah.
And so that's coming. And then the other big one, also speaking of fantastic artwork, is Pathfinder Second Edition is dropping here in 3 weeks as well.
At Gen Con. That's
and LGSs.
Oh, it's coming out first?
Simul release.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
it's going to be released at the game stores as well.
Nice.
And yeah, cover up by Wayne Reynolds, who's one of my favorite fantasy artists. So really geeked out about that. I love Pathfinder as well. So, and Pathfinder is a game I will go and play.
In its own world with its own rules.
Yep, I will play that occasionally as well. So, I love Pathfinder. I have all the hardcover first edition books. I am not at all upset that a second edition is coming, however, because I love their world. I want to see what's coming next, and I beta tested the rules too, and loved the beta test. So I'm really excited to see what second edition, what got kept, and what got chopped out. But I think that's it for
that's all the releases coming this week
for new releases.
So moving on to War Machine and Hordes, and I've been on a couple of blogs throughout the last week and kind of doing some research. You know, we're looking: is this game dead? Is it not going to be supported? And I talked to Privateer actually directly, their operating officer, and he assured me no, it's not. And in fact, Oblivion's coming, which is a new box set release. They're gonna adjust some of the theme lists that you can take and add some of those things so you can kind of beef up your armies that way. A lot of free troops, from what I understand from some of the stuff that we've seen. So it's a game that we kind of stopped supporting, but we're going to go back to supporting it now. And I'm excited about that. I've been working on my Grimkin, got the Skin and Moans painted up, and that army's almost ready to go, that faction, for War Machine Hordes. And then we will also do some videos here for battle reports.
Yeah, I'm painting up my Trollbloods right now, so I can do that. I have a fully painted Convergence army, so
yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, like quite literally blow the dust off the army and get them out to see the tabletop again. I got to
review our rules though.
Yeah, we got to learn the game again. It's been
yeah.
probably a year to two since I've thrown dice in that system.
Yeah.
But and Convergence, in my opinion, is like one of the more challenging factions to play because you just their synergy is different. You've got to do things in a very correct order, or you screw things up. And I'm looking forward to doing some battle reports with them though. Once I get the rust off and get them working well again. And then in the meantime, I painted an Earthborn Dire Troll this last week.
We're gonna have pictures that we'll have to get those up.
We'll get some pictures up soon of those. And I am working on a Dire Troll Mauler right now, which is and I've already finished a Bouncer as my test model for the army. So that's 3 of my 4 War Beast for my 75-point list that I have written right now. But I think I need to adjust it because once I applied my theme, I think I got some points refunded basically. Some solos tossed in for free, but I found a theme that worked for my army, so I was like, and that's what's changing soon is how themes work, and they're changing to a system with requisition points where you get to add more things to your army, and it's it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out. But
so the game isn't dying, and
not at all.
I saw that a lot.
Spoiler, it's not dying.
I saw it a lot on the internet though. A lot of people feel that way. So again, it looks like they're trying to like breathe some life back into it. So that's really good to see from Privateer.
I think Privateer shift gears for a little bit for Monster Apocalypse they try to get this new game off the ground and really fully support it. But they are a small company.
Yeah.
And not meaning that in any disparaging way. But they only have so much manpower to throw around. And I think they just kind of really put their focus there to get Monster Apocalypse up and moving and getting its own momentum. And now that it's there, they can kind of go back and really focus on
this game.
On their
I think one of the cool things that I saw on there is that they allowed the game for how great it is at very small point levels. So if you're playing a 25 to 50 point list, the game's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But the competitive scene isn't that, and that's really what the game's geared to. And a lot of the guys who love the game at the smaller level don't get to play because they don't want to play the bigger level. The bigger level guys don't come down and play the small guys. So it's just kind of, I think we're missing the beat somewhere between players, among players.
And then you're saying too, we were talking about this earlier this week, that there's been some talk about like a resurgence of the Unbound rules.
Well, I think the Apocalypse, which we'll get into next from Games Workshop, has kind of fired up some of that conversation, at least on the internet. And again, you take it with a grain of salt on the internet, but it was, if they could bring this apocalyptic, if you will, type of rule set where it kind of dumbs down the rules and simplifies it really to a point, then the game would be a lot more fun in War Machine Hordes, because again, it's a really intricate game.
Knowing some of
chess battle,
but some of our more diehard War Hordes players in the area, though,
like it,
they would disagree with that
But
completely.
see, that's your trick, where Games Workshop really kind of took off with this, beer and pretzels mentality, if you will, around the game table. It's not a competitive game to an extent. They brought that into Underworlds and whatnot, but 40K, Age of Sigmar, those are skirmish games. They're not super competitive.
Right.
Whereas I think
depends on the scene, but yeah.
Well, to a point, but even the game itself doesn't lend itself to that kind of competitive
the game is
deal
not written
because of the way the rules are written. Whereas War Machine Hordes, and I don't think they've ever really pulled any punches to say, "Hey, this is not a competitive game. Go have some beer and pretzels."
Page 5, man.
Yeah, this is for competition.
First 2 editions, page 5.
Yeah, this is for competition. So I think that's their target. But again, when you target to that, your target market is here, whereas you really want your market to be here, because here there's a lot of people, I think, that really like the aesthetic of the game that we've talked about before, and so hopefully they're listening and bringing some of that back. And again, I don't think the theme lists are the answer to that, because I think that gears more onto the competitive side. But the conversation steered toward, dude, look at these Apocalypse rules. Hey, War Machine Hordes, check this out. You could totally copy this, and it would be something we would then play and simplify it, and you could get a lot more people in.
There are elements of Apocalypse, I think, that I personally like in any war game, that I think would be really interesting. But once again, it breaks how the game currently plays. You'd have to do a rewrite of the game, of the core rules, to really make it work, or you just accept the fact that you're going to unbalance everything in a heartbeat. But like, one of the things I really love, and we'll get into this in a minute with Apocalypse, is like,
well, let's do it now. I mean, we're done with War Machine Hordes. We'll keep talking about that and bringing it to the forefront of the camera, just because I want to keep it alive.
We're probably a couple weeks out from having enough things painted, but we'll be doing some battle reports. Gen Con is kind of our priority focus right now too, and a lot of planning is going on for that. And once we get back from Gen Con, I think we're going to really hit the ground running a lot more with what we're doing with the show. Doing interviews with people and a lot of other things as well here. But yeah, Apocalypse. Apocalypse is here. We have our hands on it finally. The nice box set rattling around here.
It looks really good. It looks really good.
So it comes with the command asset cards. It comes with dice. It comes with tokens. And it comes with, you can hear the dice rattle around in there, this really cool book, the field manual that has all the rules and everything for the game. It has, Games Workshop, of course, always puts out quality products. I'll say that. They never skimp on the quality of the products, the artwork that they use, just giving descriptions of what Apocalypse games are, the scale and scope of these games. And then, they show, of course, Duncan's in here with his Knight Army. And then you dig right into the rules, and they talk about how to play a game of Apocalypse. It is not 40K with dumbed-down rules. Let me just say that, because I know there's been some talk of that. And it's really not. The rules are about 12 pages, I want to say, altogether, of just the core rules of the game. So it's a little more in-depth even than 40K's core rules. And then there's 6 scenarios in the book you can play through. There's areas in the armies. As of yet, there's no like individual army books or anything like that, and I don't foresee that happening.
It's too simple. That you don't need it.
I don't think unless they really want to do something where they add in elements of what it means to be the Ultramarines.
And here's what
I don't see that happening.
I don't see it happening, and here's why. Because I think, and this is again, as I troll the internet nowadays, just to kind of bring stuff to the show and talk.
You mean like in a fishing sense, and not as in a.
I don't actually speak. Sense? I just read. So I read what players are saying. And one of the things, and I think there's some truth to this, one of the things they're saying about Apocalypse, a lot of players, is it's really Games Workshop's answer to the guys who have hoarded and collected and can never get their army on the board. There's a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And they love to put their armies on the board in a mass faction. And I think it's
But you don't want to spend a whole weekend doing it.
Right. But see, here's the thing. As I watch some other things, there's a lot of folks out there saying, don't buy Apocalypse if you just have a 1,500-point army because you won't have any fun. You can't play. And that's very, very true. And so it's really your target market for who wants to buy this game is your guys out there who, and I guess this kind of kicks into our product review a little bit of what it looks like. But it's really targeted to the guys who have 20,000 points of not 20, that's an exaggeration, but there are guys with 20,000 points of a faction, and they don't get to put that on the table. Boom, enter Apocalypse. Now, as a collector, I'm justified in owning 20,000 points of knights or whatever it is I own, and I can bring those to the table. And really, if it's painted, it's a gorgeous sight to see if you're a Games Workshop nerd.
I feel personally attacked. I just want you to know that.
Why?
I have 20,000 points.
I know you do.
Faction.
That won't even fit on the Apocalypse table, though. I'm just saying. But it's an opportunity for those folks out there who've collected those armies and really done a number on that to really lay it out and make it look good. Mm-hmm. And yeah, the rules are simplified. I like the word simplified better than dumbed down. Yeah. Because I don't think they're dumbed down. They're different.
I'm gonna use different. It's a streamlined game. Yeah. Because it has to be with the scale they're working on. Some things that I love about this game right off the bat. The order system.
Yes.
You have to give orders to your detachments. There's 3 different orders you give. Everybody in the detachment has to get the same order, and so that is a breakaway from like old Titan Legion's Epic that we compared it to last week. In that game, you got to give every single unit their own order marker. In this one, you give it to the commander. So what that means is that it means you have to be more careful in how you design your armies.
Right.
Like if you're going to take an army and you're like, oh, I'm taking, you can't take a detachment and make a battle company out of it for Space Marines, right? Like you can't do like I'm going to put a couple tactical squads, some Devastator squads, and some assault squads. Because if you do, you're going to just hamper some of those squads no matter what action you take every turn. If you're not putting the assault order on there, then your assault squads are kind of like, okay, I guess we're just going to slowly move across the board and get shot instead of getting into hand-to-hand right away. And if you're putting the aimed action down, that's great for your Devastator squads who might be safely tucked away, but it might, your assault squads are sitting there going, we have pistols, we're going to sit here and aim with our pistols. And your tac squads aren't getting into the positions they need to. So when you build your army, you have to make sure you're putting the right units into the right detachments as well as just picking the right things for your army. And so I think it's going to be really neat to see how different armies play out. And so so for Space Marines, for instance, you might have like a detachment that has some assault squads and some Inceptor squads and maybe some vehicles that rely on movement, or like Blood Angels might have a Furioso Dreadnought that you'd throw in there. Anything hand-to-hand based that you just want to get that double move and try to get into hand-to-hand as fast as possible, and you're not really worried about shooting. Whereas like the aimed fire action, that's going to be like a lot of Tau units who want to do that, but maybe not your suits. Your suits might want the mobility to be able to move around and do. And so that's an element of the game right there that I really love. I love that extra, and it's secret orders. So you put your orders down and they're all face down tokens, and then after everything's done, then you flip them over. And there's even a rule that says if you forget to give a detachment orders, they do nothing. It even says, however, that if you notice your opponent doing that, good sport would point it out to them and do that. But I mean, once again, having played Epic of old, like that was a thing. I feel like your opponent forgot to put an order down. Oh, I guess you didn't give those guys orders. Sorry.
They don't get to move.
So I love the orders thing because that adds a really almost mind game element with your opponent that you're playing too. Like, what do you put in there? Did I guess right? Am I, doing this right? And then alternating activations too. So it's not just in Apocalypse games. This is murder. It's our turn. For the next 2.5 hours in this 20,000 point game, we're going to take our turn. You guys just sit there and wait. And it is excruciating to sit through. So alternating activation means you're more plugged into the game all the time. I activate a detachment, resolve my detachment. You activate a detachment, resolve your detachment, and we go back and forth. And then the third thing I like about all of this, we talked about this last week too, is damage is then resolved at the end. Damage in this game is represented by putting blast markers on units, large or small, depending on what's already been on the unit. And at the end of the turn, you make your armor saves finally, D6s or D12s, depending on the blast markers, and then apply damage to the unit. And so what it means is somebody can't just kill your brand new knight that you spent all week building and painting and put on the table for the first time before you get to use it. even if they shoot it and do so much damage to it that you're probably going to lose it, you still get a chance to use the model, play it out, do some damage back, and I think that's really cool. I haven't seen a game played yet. Just finally got the rules on our hands on Friday and had a chance to go over it over the weekend and really look at it. And I have a buddy. He's super busy this time of year, but I'm trying to convince him to get together and play a game and just see how it plays out.
Looks great. So, thumbs up on Apocalypse.
I'm excited. I agree with you. I think it is for the beer and pretzels players more than the competitive players.
Oh, there.
If you want to get,
listening to you talk, there's a lot of, and I never thought about this, but there's a lot of deep strategy seated in the fact of your creation of your detachment and army. There's a lot of strategy just in that part. So, simple is probably a bad word to use as well. It's not simple. The rules are streamlined. That's a great word.
Yep. I give it 2 thumbs up. I think Apocalypse is great. I've always been a fan of Apocalypse. Every time Apocalypse has dropped it, I have always started or focus on a new army to bring up to an Apocalypse level. Tyranids was when Apocalypse very first dropped for the first time. My Space Marines when Apocalypse dropped in I forget which edition it was, but they put out a new big hardcover book and everything. And my Space Marines I brought up to that level as well. Then we did the big 40k to 40k battle back in 6th edition. It was like 20,000 points per side. And then when this dropped, I decided I'm going forward with my Craft World Eldar, and I'm going to bring them up to an APOC level. So nice. That is my next thing. I painted 6 Guardians over the weekend, which isn't much to drop in the bucket points wise, but that's how you start. But yeah, that's it. I highly recommend it if you're into big games in terms of model count and everything. I haven't played it to see how it works time wise yet, but I at this point I highly recommend it. We'll see what my opinion looks like after I get a game or 2 of it in.
Check it out here on KNN. We will also be coming to you after this for RPG Out of the Box. We're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, but just talking briefly about what we want to do going forward. We would like to take this show. We want to still deliver kind of the releases and the news and stuff like that, but we would like to kind of refocus into product review. And then we are kind of going to rechristen another show, probably the Boardroom, I'd be guessing, to really bring a ranking system for board games and other games as well, so that you can kind of come check out the website, see it here, and watch the show based on doing product reviews, on KNN and listening to Chaos and myself, kind of dilute that, tell you who's it for, what's good about it, what's bad about it. But then also have a show that will rank and file the board games, as it were, because I know a lot of folks out there like to see that and have the opportunity to see, hey, they played that. Is it good? Should we play it? Is it good for my family? Is it good for my kids? Is it good because we're older and retired and all my buddies want to play it? And we'll bring you those kind of things for product reviews and then ranking of the board games. And so we've been hashing out a lot over what is going to work and what information you guys out there want as an audience, and that's what we want to bring to you. So we're
working on trying to bring some interviews. We're going to interview
that'll be part of this show,
gaming related celebrities, and including authors and artists and designers who work in the industry themselves, and then also just other celebrities out there who have had a gaming influence on their lives, who are in bands or authors outside of the gaming industry, but are their writing is influenced by that kind of thing. And so we're working on that as well, and we'll have hopefully some live interviews coming up here soon.
Especially after Gen Con.
Yeah. Yes. We intend to do a lot of work at Gen Con.
Yep. We got so RPG Out of the Box coming up at 7 just after this. We have Dungeon Delvers this week again. We're back in. We've got a substitute player.
Yep.
Coming in. Bones is out. He's traveling
He's
United States on a
motorcycle traveling the Rocky Mountains.
So we've seen some pictures. Looks like he's having a lot of fun. So we'll look forward to seeing him and hearing maybe a little bit from him in the following week. But tomorrow we will have a substitute player. Playing a different character for Dungeon Delvers into Gloomhaven. Then Emergent RPG returns.
Yes, on Thursday.
From a break from the 4th of July. Excited about that. Got punched in the kidney, though, so I'm still reeling from that. But anyway.
And then we have our second 40K battle report for Legacies of War on Saturday.
what is it? Necrons
versus Astra Militarum.
Militarum.
Yep.
Necrons won the round one, I believe.
Necrons won round one, although he said he did better against the Necrons than he's ever done against Necrons. So he's hopeful that in our rematch doing the ambush scenario, he'll have a better.
We'll have learned some things,
Yeah.
so that'll be good. Necrons are hard. They're hard.
They are a hard force to go up against.
So, and then Ready Table 1 will come to us where we will finish Season 1 here in the next few weeks. We got Modern for that, and it'll be at about 1 o'clock on Sunday this week. Anything else?
I think that's it.
And we'll be back again here with another episode of KNN, and so tune in on Tuesday, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time.
Make sure that you are following us here on Twitch TV if you're watching live right now. You can also subscribe. If you have an Amazon account, you can link it to your Twitch TV account if you have Amazon Prime, and it upgrades your account to Prime for free on Twitch, and you can give out a subscription for free every 31 days. If you like our show, please feel free to do that as well. And then, of course, look for us on YouTube under the same name, Chaotic Knight Network, and you can subscribe there for free. And we just love you getting the word out to you on your social media. Please spread the word about us.
That'll be great. We'll see you next week.